The Clarity Act. It's the most important crypto legislation in American history. And right now, it's hanging by a thread. After months of deadlock, a final working draft has emerged. Trump agreed to ethics rules. The Senate is down to one clause. But the clock is ticking, and if it misses the August 7th deadline, the next realistic window isn't next year. It's 2030. Here's what's happening, why it matters, and what happens next. First, what is the Clarity Act? Officially called the Digital Asset Market Clarity Act, it's the crypto industry's #1 legislative priority, even bigger than last year's Genius Act on stablecoins. This bill does one thing that nothing else has ever done: it draws a bright line between the SEC and the CFTC, replacing years of regulation by enforcement with an actual statutory framework. It tells the industry, once and for all, which assets are commodities and which are securities. For XRP holders, this is existential. In March 2026, the SEC and CFTC issued joint interpretive guidance naming XRP a digital commodity. But that guidance came from the agencies, not from Congress. A future administration could reverse it overnight. The Clarity Act would write that classification into federal law permanently. Analysts project up to $8 billion in fresh ETF inflows if it passes. That's why XRP jumped past $1.13 on nothing more than a news report about an ethics clause. The bill also includes the Blockchain Regulatory Certainty Act, which means developers who don't control user assets won't be treated as money transmitters. It gives financial institutions the green light to use public blockchains. It creates a regulatory pathway for tokenized securities in futures markets on-chain. And it establishes consumer and developer protections. The Solana Policy Institute called it a clear regulatory treatment for tokens, token fundraising, and exchange regulation. So what's blocking it? One clause. The ethics provision. Democrats demanded rules restricting the president's crypto business. Trump's 2025 financial disclosure showed he earned over $1 billion from crypto interests last year. After weeks of deadlock, Trump met with Senators Lummis and Moreno in the Oval Office on July 16. He agreed to what the White House called the most comprehensive and wide-ranging ethics provision in history. The draft bars the president, vice president, members of Congress, and federal judges from issuing or sponsoring digital assets while in office. But here's the catch. The provision sunsets in 2029. Regulators get a full year to implement it. And enforcement is handed to the Department of Justice alone, a DOJ that reports directly to the president those rules are meant to restrict. Senator Angela Brooks called it unserious. She's one of only 2 Democrats who voted the bill out of committee, and she says she can't support it in this form. Democrats want state attorneys general to have enforcement power too. Republicans want them kept out. That's the fight. The vote math is brutal. The Clarity Act needs 60 votes to clear the Senate. If every Republican votes yes, they still need at least 7 to 10 Democrats. Only 2 Democrats voted it out of committee, and both warned that wasn't a floor commitment. Majority Leader John Thune says the bill will likely miss the August 7th deadline. He told reporters he wants to at least get it started before recess. White House crypto advisor Patrick Witt pushed back, saying the first week of August still has potential. But Thune's next priority is a sanctions bill honoring the late Senator Lindsey Graham. The people closest to the negotiation are more optimistic than the headlines suggest. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says the bill is on the 1-yard line. Senator Kevin Cramer says they're almost there, just small details left. Galaxy CEO Mike Novogratz says talks are down to wordsmithing around the ethics language. Even Senator Cynthia Lummis, the lead Republican negotiator, says the most contentious sections are still open for revision. But Galaxy Research puts passage at 50-50. And polymarket odds have fallen from 48% to 31%. Here's the bottom line. The Clarity Act is closer to becoming law than it has ever been. Trump agreed to the ethics rules. The draft is written. The Senate calendar has had a spot open since June 1st. But one clause, who enforces the ethics rules, is still being fought over. If it passes before August 7th, crypto gets a permanent legal foundation in the United States. If it misses that window, the next realistic chance is 2030. The industry has spent years lobbying for this. The question now is whether one clause is worth losing the whole bill. Drop a comment. Do you think the Clarity Act gets done before recess? Subscribe for more crypto policy breakdowns.